it is time for Shannon Reads Those Books. Book number 7, Sunshine Sketches of a Little Town by Stephen Leacock. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm excited to finish my 7th book for those books and exploration, and probably my last book of 2014, which makes it number 65 and for the year and 7 for those books. So woohoo! Yay! Happy. So anyway, let's get to the book itself. It is Sunshine Sketches of a Little Town by Stephen Leacock. It was published in 1912. So this book is 102 years old. Not this copy per se, otherwise I would be like a total allergy dust muffin. And it makes the those books list because it is number 3 on the Canadian classic novels lists, which I believe is actually chronological, as opposed to importance-wise. I don't know. It starts with Roughing It in the Bush, which is earlier than this, and then something I can't remember, and then this. So anyway, this is old. But it's good. It's really good. So why did I choose it? I chose it because I wanted to, one, I had it. I got a physical copy, and I wanted something a bit lighter after Tender is the Night, and a bit smaller, because it's 186 plus the afterword, which I didn't read because it has all these references to other books. I can never get away from that. And I also wanted another Canadian book in the mix. I read A Complicated Kindness, and I am in the middle of Roughing Into the Bush, but I wanted to read something I know I can get through, I could finish, and Roughing in the Bush is really long, so... So yeah, that's why I chose it, because I wanted something light. So on to the questions. Did I understand it? Yep, I certainly did. It is set in small town Ontario, a fictional small town Ontario called Mariposa. And each chapter sort of tells a vignette of small town life, from the different townspeople, about the different townspeople and happenings, be it an election or a fundraising campaign or the annual trip of the boat, because they're on a lake, but the boat only goes out one a year. Anyway, it's not so much what it's about as opposed to how it's told for me, and that leads right into did I enjoy it, which is yes. One of the things I was surprised but happy to know about this book is that it's actually sort of classified as humor. I don't read a lot of humor books. I even think of humor as with the exception of like comic strips in like graphic novels like Calvin and Hobbes or The Far Side. I'm like, what is a humor book? Like, do you sit there and laugh? Like, I just don't really get it. But when I read this book, I really got it. Like, it's funny, it's quaint, it's charming, it's sweet. It's really got... It's funny because I'm a city girl, so the whole thing is about small towns and, the mentality of small towns, the happenings of small towns, but I still got it. Like, I still really understood it. Like, the whole, everyone's 100% certain that what happened would happen after the fact. They're 100% certain that would happen, and all that kind of stuff, and how everyone's involved in everything, and everyone knows each other's business, and every event, everything, every moment becomes sort of this monumental, happening, with the same importance. Like, the election is the same importance as one other decision, and sort of just, I don't know, it's just really sweet, and I really enjoyed it, and it has a real sense of warmth to it, and it is narrated, like, it feels like someone who's telling you a story that they've told 100 times, and it just reels you in each and every time. So yeah, and then I'm sort of like talking about the questions, but in the wrong order. Oh well. So was it what I expected? It actually really was. When I told people that I was reading it, everyone got this sort of, this smile on their face, and their voice became a little brighter, and just this sort of soft sentimentality to it. And I really felt that when I was reading it. I understood why they went, oh, about that book, when I told them I was reading it, because you just sort of like, soften into it, and and the way of life and the beauty of I was going to say simplicity, but it's like the complexity and the simplicity, like everything's such an event, and I like that. I like that a lot, and everything becomes bigger and bigger, a big snowball effect. And in fact, the narrator, and I don't know if this is just the fact that I read it near the end of the year, but the narrator really reminds me of the snowman in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the animation, the Super Mario Nation thing. Because it's like, yeah, pull up an ice block and let me tell you a story. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll hear the one about the bank or the one about the election or whatever it may be. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was what I expected, which was kind of nice. Usually I get a little, I don't want to know anything about it and that kind of stuff, and I knew enough, but it was about how the stories were told a little bit more than the specifics, and some were a little long-winded and some were a little more, succinct, but it didn't really matter to me, that, like, the length of each story. I didn't really care. It's just, I enjoyed it. Like, I just enjoyed it. Next up, do I recommend it? Yeah, I would strongly recommend it. It's a really sweet read. So if you're looking for something lighter, something happier, and that's actually, I think, I would put in this case. It's like, although it's humor, for me, it made me feel happy. I wasn't necessarily sitting there laughing, but I was, like, enjoying it. I had a smile on my face. So if that's the kind of book that you're looking for, something sweet, something quaint, something charming, it is definitely a good pick. And it is pretty timeless. Given the fact that it was written in 1912, I would have to say that, of course, female characters, and women were not that prominent in the stories, like either as the focus, it was really more about the men in the town. So, that is not unexpected for a book that's over 100 years old. There were some women in it, but they didn't have too much presence, so that's the only thing. But I don't really expect that. I don't have an expectation of that given the time it was written. And will I read more from this author? Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to read more from this author. And oh my goodness, Stephen Leacock, I was looking at the bibliography, and it's like, there's page 1, and then there's page 2 and 3. That's insane. And there might be more. Is there more? No, that's it. And there's a huge amount of humor. There's literary criticism, history, education, economics, drama, like political science. He was all over. Like, he just prolific writer. So that is really impressive. But this really is the one. And my last question is it deserving of being on this list? And I put, is it deserving of being on this? Aha, tired. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not surprised that it's on a lot of lists. I'm sure it is a staple when people are taking Canadian literature classes, for sure, because it has a great Canadian sensibility to it, and that sort of, slowly, hooks you. You don't even realize you're hooked till you're hooked, and so, which is a big Canadian thing. I would definitely read more from him. I probably wouldn't be my next pick, just because there's so many books on my list that I want to check out, but I definitely would read more from him. It's pretty timeless, very accessible, and just sort of really, really nice. And it's nice to read something that's really nice. It's not about like hardship and or huge conflicts to overcome. Although there is, but it's in a different sensibility, So anyway. So, I will say the one thing is it took me longer to read than I expected, and I even did my little countdown calendar that I wanted to get it done before the holidays, which did not happen. I finished it after the holidays on the 28th, and I did these little chapters, and each little house represents how long the chapter was, and then I filled in the roofs when I read them. So anyway, that usually is what works for me if I'm having trouble getting through something. And honestly, that was just because it's the end of the year and the holidays come up, and that's good to know for me, that in the future, I think for December, I'm not going to put any must reads or must finish, because there is lots to do and lots to enjoy, and it's timely. that those holidays only and those happenings only happen once a year. So, I might choose to do that over finish a book, and that is just fine. So, but I did end up finishing it. Yay! And I am really, really happy. It's my 7th since I started this challenge, exploration, and it will probably be the last book that I finish this year, unless I finish something in the next sort of 36 hours, which is not really likely. Never know. But so far, great year. I did my year in review. I'll put a link for that below, as well as my introduction to the Those Books list and the Those Books list on Tumblr. So thank you so much for watching.